Hello everyone, welcome back to another stream on Fantasy Football Scout. Today as usual I'm joined by Gianni Batici and we'll be looking at how my Game Week 24 team got on for the double game week. And of course we will look forward into Game Week 25 and speak about some of the fixtures coming up in maybe blank Game Week 29 and how we might look going forward into double game week 33. Gianni, how are we keeping?
I'm very well, thank you, mate. Yeah, it's lovely to chat because it's been almost 2 weeks and we haven't actually had the conversation since obviously the carnage ahead of Game Week 24 deadline, which was I think the Friday before the Saturday deadline was the announcement that there's going to be a double probably for Liverpool, and obviously that dropped, and obviously the idea of going MOYES or slot, but then having a double for assistant manager was too strong for many. And you and I, well, we pulled that trigger, didn't we, man? We hit the button, which is fun. I mean, the game week is still far from over. I'm guessing you've got cumulatively what 5-6 players still to play, including your manager.
Yeah, I've got a good few still to play. I've got 5 altogether, and they're 5 strong players, of course. It's a really weird position though, because I myself I've activated the system manager chip. I've got it on David Moyes, but a lot of managers have it on Arnie Slot, and I've triple Liverpool. I don't know how to feel about certain players returning. Of course, you want Cody Gakpo to return, but with the triple captain on Salah that a lot of people have done this weekend, is EO being over 200%. I don't know if I actually want Liverpool to do well or not. It's a really unusual position.
Mate, a 0-0 draw would be amazing for us because Moyes then gets his bonus for his 5 bonus, and Slot gets very few points, and our Liverpool defenders still get clean sheets. Let's hope Trent starts, and Salah blanking is good for us because of his EO. So I would love Moisey to nick a draw. I mean, 0-0 or 1-1, whatever. Like, I'd be very. Do you think there's a chance of an upset? I mean, it's the last ever Merseyside derby at Goodison. Everton did lose to Bournemouth yesterday, but there is a little glimmer of hope. I mean, no one went Moyes going, they're going to get something against Liverpool. Like, I don't. Like, I've had a few comments being like laughing that I think Everton are going to beat Liverpool. So no, you've gone Moyes to give yourself a chance, right? You've gone Moyes because the upside is big, and probably because you didn't want to sell your third Liverpool player. And I didn't like that move. I know many did it. They sold a Kanate or a Gakpo or an Allison to get to Slot. I just thought I'm very happy owning triple Liverpool players moving forward. And I was willing to roll the dice with Moyes. And then I knew it'd give us the opportunity to roll the dice with someone else. Again, we'll be looking at Emery, I guess, this week.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's exactly what we're playing for. I don't think anyone expected or will expect Everton to beat Liverpool. I think you're more so chasing the upside, and we're really like 12 points for Moyes. You'd be very, very happy with that against Leicester. Of course, just barely outperforming Slot. But yeah, we're trying to chase up to 40 points here. In comparison to Slot, which I would say has a bit of a cap. So I think we knew what we were doing going with Moyes. Is there a chance of an upset? I mean, absolutely. I don't think we would have went with Moyes if we didn't think there was a chance. So I think Everton are actually on some decent form. Of course, new manager bounce. It's interesting to see. Liverpool look absolutely unstoppable though. But at Goodison, you wouldn't put it past Moyes to even somewhat attempt to get a draw. I don't think Liverpool are going to go there and absolutely smash him, but hopefully it's a respectable score, because as a non-Arnie Slot owner, you'd hope for that. And maybe even if Liverpool are going to do well, hopefully Gakpo does all the work rather than a Salah. And of course, I've Pickford and Mikalenko. Maybe some save points for Pickford, and I'm more than happy to get myself over 100 points this game week. On that note, let me pull up my team for Game Week 24. And just another thing to know is, thank you everyone for joining us on another Sunday afternoon. Apologies for the technical difficulties last week. We don't have it this week. I was in a IKEA car park and my laptop did die. So apologies for anyone that was watching that. And thank you for joining us on another Sunday. I hope you find these useful. And if you do enjoy the content, do me and Gianni a favour and hit that like button for us. So let's pull up my team for Game Week 24. So I'm currently on 91 points, Gianni, in a very nice spot, I would say. I did think I'd be on a bit more of a green arrow considering I'm on 91 points. I think I've moved up around 30k places. I'm currently at an overall rank of 290k, which is not too bad. And 5 players to play, like I said. So still very exciting this game week on what's going to happen in the Merseyside derby. But yeah, not a bad position to be in, Gianni.
No, mate, you're sitting pretty. Well played for starting Daniel Munoz as well. Like, he's on our thumbnail today. I mean, Munoz, I benched him. I'm devastated because it was a close call between Lewis Hall and who played Fulham and was on a clean sheet at like, I don't know, after about an hour. And then Daniel Munoz obviously got the late assist and with that bonus point. So Munoz has been great. I mean, you've got Mikalenko and Trent, two players that we don't know if either will start that Merseyside derby. I suspect Trent will, and I think Mikalenko is probably about 50-50. Moyes was quoted post-match or pre-match yesterday saying it was more of a precaution to leave him out, but obviously he's had a knock. So fingers crossed there, because I guess we're not expecting much from Mikalenko, but you want your players playing, and especially going into game week 25, you don't really want to have to put fires out there. So fingers crossed both of them make it.
Yeah, absolutely. I going into this game week, I of course had to make the decision of bringing in MOYES, and also I brought in Pickford for Rhea. Obviously delighted with the Pickford move now. Of course, another fixture and a 9-pointer from the first game. Everton assets coming in clutch, to be honest. Like, I think without them, I'd actually be on a red arrow, which is so weird to say. But also, I think I'm in a good position. We will start looking forward to my team next week. But of course, now we know that Liverpool are going to double in game week 25 along with Villa. I will have triple Villa and triple Liverpool going into this double game week, Johnny.
Yeah, I like that, man. How are you? So you'll have triple Villa because Emery, Watkins, Rodgers, and there your triple Liverpool's already set. So without making a transfer on your actual team, obviously Emery is different. You already got the 6, so you wanted that double to drop. You didn't. I mean, you wanted Spurs because you're a Spurs fan, but it's actually worked out really well for your FPL team because you don't have Spurs and Fulham. Like a lot have got Robinson or Jimenez, maybe a Spurs player. You had 5 between the two teams already. So that is lovely, man. I mean, Watkins feels like. I guess we should talk about both Watkins and Emery in more detail, but Watkins feels like, despite having a really good-looking double, and Ipswich makes it a good-looking double, he's going to be hard for a lot to get to because they'll have a front line of Isak, Wood, and Gakpo or Mateta. I wouldn't sell any of those players for Watkins. You've already got him, so you don't need to worry about that.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it's a really, really nice position to be in, especially with the flag. I'm a bit optimistic about him. I have to be.
He'll be fine.
He will be fine, exactly. Just after selling John Duran. Again, people are in an awkward position. No one in their right mind is going to sell a Wood or Isak to even try accommodate a Watkins. So I think there is some really, really good upside for me owning Watkins this game week. And I just need to hope that he gets both of the games. And I'm sure if he gets both, he will return, I'm sure, in at least one of the 2 games. It's a really nice fixture for him. How, in general, Gianni, of course, we're speaking about Unai Emery right now, is a very similar position to how we view David Moyes as an assistant manager. Would you be hopeful going into this Liverpool game for an upset? Again, I think it is more probable than, obviously, at Everton. Because I feel like Unai Emery is really good against the top teams. And also, that Ipswich fixture is really, really lovely.
Yeah, man, I'm with you. Like, I thought Emery has the higher chance of an upset than Moyes, without a shadow of a doubt. And that's because I feel like Emery is a sort of manager that can cause an upset. I've not actually gone back and looked to see what his record's like against top teams, but like you, straight away, my brain goes to he can cause big teams problems. I just think back even to a few months ago. Bayern Munich under Vincent Kompany, yeah, they're a team in transition, but you expect Bayern Munich to go to Villa Park and win the football match. Bayern Munich are an elite European football club with still elite players, and a lot of them, not 1 or 2, but 7 or 8. And Villa, Emery beat Bayern Munich at home. Could he beat Liverpool at home? I mean, a draw isn't like, I could see a draw. Let's see. I mean, look, of course, Liverpool are strong favourites, but Villa feel like, especially with their very good transfer window, maybe there'll be a bit of momentum. I'm looking forward to watching Villa today. Let's see what minutes Rashford gets. Let's see what minutes Marlon gets. He'll probably start as the number 9, although he was left out the Champions League squad. It shows how much Emery probably fancies him-ish. And then obviously Asensio's in the mix as well. But for me, Rodgers and Watkins are absolutely the 2 standout picks there because we know we're getting 2 starts and probably 160 to 180 minutes from those 2. You can't say the same about Marlon, Rashford and Asensio, not with certainty yet anyway.
Yeah, I would agree with that for sure. We have a super chat from Subhajit. Thoughts on Gordon de Bone? So, Johnny, a lot of people, and another comment from Tanky says, bro, still without Isak, I respect it. I actually think I'm doing fairly well if you consider how good Isak has done. A lot of people will be looking to offload their Newcastle assets with the blank game week in 29, Gianni. I'll leave you take this question on Gordon to Bone. Do you think that's a good move?
I like Gordon still. I'm surprised so many are looking to offload Newcastle assets just because they blank in 29. Like, one, we can play a free hit in 29, which I actually think I'll be doing because, like you, Chai, I've got a lot of players. Like in 29, you've got 3 Liverpool, 2 Villa. So you're already on 5. You've got MOYES, which is 6. Who's the other team blanking?
Gordon.
Newcastle, Gordon. So you've got 7. I've got 8. So I've got one more than you. But I've got 8 and I'm using transfers on managers. I'm probably going to have to free hit in 29, which isn't optimal for me, but I'm happy committing, therefore, to holding my Liverpool and my Newcastle players because either side of that blank, they've got good fixtures. Like after the blank, Newcastle have got is it Leicester and Brentford? It's 2 good games. They've just beaten Arsenal 2-0 at home in the EFL Cup semi. Newcastle are a team that are attacking as well as that's a top 2, top 3 attack at the moment in terms of what I see from eye test. I wouldn't be selling Gordon, and I'm shocked, mate. You're not doing this because you don't own him, but there's a lot of managers out there, and this is partly led from a couple of the big content creators, people you and I are friends with, that are going to be selling Alexander Isak just so they can get double Watkins. Now, sure, this week, Watkins probably outscores Isak because he has got 2 games, but Isak versus Man City is a good fixture. And then after that, it's not a bad run. Like Forest, Liverpool, sure, it's not the easiest, but then it's West Ham, Brentford, Leicester, Man United. They've got Ipswich in 34. They're probably going to double in 33. If you sell a player like Isak, you're going to want to buy him back as soon as possible. I just don't, and you'll pay a lot more money for him. I just don't get it.
Yeah, I think you're right, especially when you consider Alexander Isak is currently easily the best striker in the world. And he is on some form. He's turning some of the best centre-halves in the league, like Saliba and Gabriel, inside out. So, I mean, I think we've seen another level for Isak this season, and we know how good he can be. I always think, what if Newcastle were a small bit better? How good Isak would be, and he'd probably get 25, 30 goals. It'll be interesting to see if this season he does move on to one of the bigger teams for, 150 million, probably around-ish. You'd expect that. I mean, I'd be very surprised if he stays at Newcastle for another year. But yeah, you're right. I don't
keep him, wouldn't they?
Yeah,
very well.
I'm
with you. I think I'd rank him sort of top number 9 in. I don't know. There's a couple up there maybe on a par, but top 2, 3 in the world, like definitely. Like in Premier League, he's been absolute standout number 9, hasn't he?
Yeah, Harry Kane, Isak, and Haaland in that order. No, I'm joking. But yeah, no, I don't know. I would agree. It's probably not. It's not the best or worst move, I would say, to move on Isak. I can understand if you are getting rid of him personally because...
Can you?
I think I can,
I own him and I am buying Watkins, but I've got a dud spot, right? You and I have both got a dud spot in João Pedro. Like, he needs to go. He needs to go. So I can sell João Pedro to Watkins, but not many have got a João Pedro. And I just think if you have to pass up on Watkins, it's fine. But you can't have every good double game week player in this game because... You just can't.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I just mean, if you told me Watkins was definitely fit for both those fixtures, or you expect him to be, I understand the move for sure.
You get it.
Yeah, I do get it.
Short term, I get it too. I just don't get it long term. I feel like as soon as you've sold Isak, you're going to want to buy him back. But yeah, you're right. Like Ipswich is a very good fixture for Villa, isn't it? I mean, how we... I guess we should talk Emery. How do you feel about that, Villa? They're not going to let us down, are they?
Just going back to Isak, sorry, before we move on, it is a bit easier for me because I don't own him. From my perspective, I'm like, sell him if you want, you can survive without him, use the money elsewhere. So how do I feel about Villa and Emery in general? Going into the stubble or in general, Gianni? A lot of people are...
Just the fact that like Ipswich is our banker, a bit like Leicester was our banker for Moyes. So can we fully trust Villa to get that win again? Is it a no-brainer that he goes and beats Ipswich, or are Villa just a little bit flaky at the minute and actually slot owners are going to win out?
I mean, over the long term, probably slot over the 2 doubles will probably outdo Moyes and Emery. Again, we're really holding on for an upset result from Moyes against Liverpool or Villa versus Liverpool. It's so hard backing against the best team in the world, but I would back Villa at home to Ipswich for sure. That is your banker. you know, they've been very, very leaky this season in terms of clean sheets. Usually they're a bit more tight at the back, but I'm hopeful. If I'm fairly sure, I'm definitely bringing in Emery, and he is a bit cheaper in comparison to the other managers, which is unusual. If I'm not mistaken about that. I have 0. 0.7 in the bank. Of course, I have David Moyes in place, so it won't cost me much to move him around. And I've also got 2 free transfers, which is good to know. I think I will be looking on to move Emery in 26, Gianni. I'll be making a manager move this week and probably most likely next week.
Yeah, I think so. I'll be doing the same. Like, that's 2 transfers. That's part of the reason why the free hit in 29 comes off the cards for me, because I knew I wouldn't have many players, but I was thinking I'll accumulate loads of transfers and get to 29 and have 5 frees and I can move it all around. But I didn't know I was going to be using the assistant manager chip. And because I am, straight away, that's 2 extra transfers I'm using. Have you looked ahead to 26 and thought where you might go? Because there's not many attractive bonus looking options. I feel like we've had it in 24 and 5. We've had good bonus options, but there's nothing in 26 I really like. Like, I'm not going to back Van Nistelrooy to beat Brentford, am I? Like, could Wolves cause an upset at Bournemouth? I don't fancy that. Like, there's very few options for 26. And again, if you're going to go for a home banker, you've got to go for like an Arteta, but then you've got to get money in your team to get to an Arteta. Have you looked ahead that far? Obviously, Pep could be up for a bonus if he beats Liverpool. There could be 5 places between them.
Yeah, I think a lot would disagree with this, but I actually, if the table bonus is on, I don't mind Wolves versus Bournemouth, to be honest. It's so risky because how good Bournemouth have been. I just think Wolves against some of the mid-table teams can always come up with a result. Again, they are...
If it was at Molineux, I'd like that, but it's at the Vitality. That kills it a bit for me.
No, you're right. That's what I mean. It is way more risky for sure. Again, there's something in this Bournemouth Wolves fixture, I feel. Again, yeah. when you're attacking table bonus teams, of course, it is a risk regardless of who you're going, because there is a discrepancy in points for a reason. So I think out of the group, I think that Wolves fixture for me. Again, I don't see who else you go unless you want to just attack a fixture. Potentially just go with an Arsenal or a Postecoglou. Postecoglou is another nice one. Yeah, I don't mind.
Then it's the money, isn't it? To go from an Emery to an Arteta, you got to leave like 0.7 in the bank, and my moves this week don't allow me to do that. So it's going to be interesting that.
Yeah, I was very thoughtful when I was making my transfers for Game Week 24. I wanted to leave the exact amount of money to bring in any manager I wanted, 1.5. So thankfully I done that, and it puts me in a good position. Played. Yeah, so. This week, I will bring in an Emery.
I did the same from 24 to 5. I gave myself 2 frees and loads of money. I don't think I'm going to do the same going into 26, though. But go on. Yeah, what are you thinking then?
So, I'm thinking of Emery for sure. He will come in 25. And then in 26, you know what? I actually fancy a Postecoglou or a Wolves if I'm feeling bold. Postecoglou versus Ipswich. Ipswich done the job on us last time around, but... I think we're due a nice little win. Again, we've been so poor. Again, we've all seen what happened in that Liverpool game. Don't think anyone is surprised, but in these, I would say, easier fixtures for Spurs, we can always come up with a big enough result. So that's where my mind is.
There could be an upset. So there is at the moment 5 places between Ipswich and Spurs if you fancy going McKenna.
Stop it, you. Okay, let me quickly move on from that and bring up my team for Game Week 25. We'll have a look at how we're looking. And you know what we'll do, Gianni? We'll do some live planning live on stream. We'll go nice. And pick up FPL team and have a look at how I'm fixed going forward until 29. Nice. Like I said, 0.7 in the bank, 2 free transfers. Right now I've got Moyes in place, but we will have 6 doublers for Game Week 25. And in general, I think the team is very, very well set up. We've got Minoz with a really nice home fixture versus Everton. Gabriel with Leicester away. We've got Kluivert in place last week, who I did bench with Southampton away. Gordon, who a lot of people are looking to get rid of, but he has a nice fixture against City, in my opinion. Maybe a small bit of an underwhelming Cole Palmer, but still there for me in place, and I will never look to get rid of him, I don't think.
Yeah, I like that. Have I lost you?
No, I'm still here. I was just thinking for a sec.
Yeah, I mean, so what? Remind me, how many transfers and what money you got?
So 0.7 in the bank, 2 free transfers.
Yeah, okay. Oh, you've left yourself good options. Well done. Like, fair play. Leaving an extra transfer going into this week, something not many did, because so many took hits last week. So you didn't take a hit. You managed to roll one of your moves. I did the same. I think I had 3 and I used 2 of them. So okay, so what are you thinking? I mean, you're a step ahead with regards to you've already got a Bournemouth midfielder and you've already got double Villa attack. And they're the 2 things people are buying this week. They're buying Bournemouth midfielders and they're buying Villa attackers.
Yeah, so I think the only plausible move for me this game week, other than Emery, who I will make the move for, is potentially moving on a Gordon. To who is the question? And Gianni, you know me as a manager. I try to get into places before people start realising. But it's only a matter of time until Tell starts for Spurs. 6 million comes in at a really nice price. Ipswich away. Am I being silly?
Yeah.
Thank you. That's how I needed that.
If you're selling Gordon, I quite like going double Bournemouth midfielders because no one's got the double up. Like you go Cliver and Semenyo or Cliver and Dango. That could be quite nice in itself.
Gianni, that's interesting you brought that up, and I was going to bring that up myself. I see a lot of people in the community actually speaking about doubling up on the Bournemouth guys. And
yeah, but they can't get there.
Yeah.
You can.
I see it as an opportunity while people are looking to go on to double Bournemouth, potentially do something a bit different. Because if you're asking me, is Dango and Cliver for sure going to outperform maybe if I put in a Tell there? I don't know, maybe I'm just being silly and I should follow the crowd in double Bournemouth as they're doing so well, but I just feel like there's always an opportunity so elsewhere, even when people are not talking about it. But with Richarlison injured now, Sonny being off the ball completely, I just wonder if we're going to see a little switch up in the front three, and I think it is a really good opening fixture. Sorry, United
you are
first.
Getting starts. You're getting as you say, because of the injury to Richarlison, you know you're getting a start. So why not? It is a fair punt. And Tell did come in 0.5 or maybe 1 million too cheap. Like, how the hell did Tell come in at 6 when Werner was priced at 6.5? Like, I just know, like that's a bad price, I think, on Tell. They've been far too generous. And you mentioned that you did mention though the sort of community looking at Bournemouth and being ahead of them. Mate, no, that won't be template. Very few in the community will have double Bournemouth. I know everyone's talking about it. No one's doing it because they haven't got the midfield spots. And actually, most are buying Villa. They're not even buying Bournemouth this week, as perhaps they should. So very few have got 1 Bournemouth mid. No one's got 2. So I do think that's a differential in itself. But the other option to consider is, have you looked at, let's say Rashford starts today or gets good minutes and looks really sharp. You could go Gordon to Rashford and Moyes to Slot. Have you looked at that? Oh, no, you can't because you've got 3 Liverpool.
I was trying to look at that. Like, I was just about to say, I have triple Liverpool, and that would have been a very, very nice play to make. I think either way, though, nicely set up. I really like the team.
Yeah, mate, very nicely set up. You're in a strong position. I mean, you're not having to even start your likes of Mikalenko and João Pedro because your squad's so good. So, yeah, fair play for getting to this point. I hope you don't sell Gordon. I think he's been... I think you've actually been a bit unfortunate. I know he's ticked over nicely for you, but he feels like he's been close to sort of double and triple returns in games where he's just had a single return and no bonus. Quite often it feels like that.
No, I would completely agree. I think I've been a bit hard done by Gordon, and Isaac owners have been absolutely killing it over me. So I feel like I should have more.
Deserved his points, but Gordon's deserved more.
100%.
He's deserved a lot more, actually.
Okay. Let me pull up FPL team real quick, and let's have a look at how I plan my team going forward. So, like I said, game week 25, I think I'm nearly 100% bringing in Unai Emery for David Moyes. 2 seconds, and I stick him in
for David Moyes.
Yeah. Good evening. Okay, so David Moyes is gone. Emery is in, and I think I'm likely to roll the other transfer. So if I quickly put in Gabriel in his place, put in Kluivert for Pedro, and the captaincy armband, without a shadow of a doubt, of course, is going to be on Mohamed Salah. The team is predicted to get just about 100 points, which is very, very nice. Hopefully back-to-back double 100-point game weeks. Then if we go forward to game week 26, 2 free transfers. Like I said, I'd like to move on Emery to another manager, potentially Ange Postecoglou, or even the Wolves manager. And again, João Pedro has a nice fixture this week. I think is why I'm not too eager to get rid of him just yet. Whether or not I'd want to play him over Rodgers this game week, I think it is likely that I do that. regardless of how Brighton's form is, I feel like he is still very important to Brighton. So let's say I want to move on to Emery, and for the time being, let's just put in a cheeky Ange Postecoglou, shall we, Gianni? And if you're asking me, that looks quite nice. Again, we will have to wait for a bit more on Trent, on how he looks, but I think for me, I'm going to be happy holding on to him for the time being. And we still have one transfer in the bank. So if we just skip on again, sorry, Gianni, I know I'm not giving you a chance to speak here, and we'll get back to my team for 26.
Mate, this is your team selection, please carry on. I'm following you.
So the team looks very nice in 27. Not a whole lot to do. And if we say in theory, I roll up to game week 29, we have 4 transfers to work around. So like we were saying, I have a few moves to make if I'm not free hitting in 29. I think right now I'm still on the fence on what I want to do exactly with my team. But I have 4 moves to make up for the 4 places in front of you. And it is possible I go into game week 29 without using the chip. Again, whether or not I want to use the free hit, I'm unsure. I have a few chips to use with my triple captain still to use. So I could easily play it and be well set up for game week 30. I won't have to move on too many Liverpool boys, or if any. So I think it is possible for me to go into 29, Gianni, without using the chip. What do you think?
Yeah, that's the difference between someone that's got sort of 6 to 7 versus 8 that I've got. You can definitely do it. I mean, it's not... Yeah, you haven't to start players like Greaves, but that's fine as long as he's still in the 11. And you've not got... The problem is there's always things that come up. Like the idea of rolling 4 free transfers, you're probably going to have an injury to I don't know, out of nowhere, Mikalenko is injured and you have to use a transfer there. But as long as you're recruiting players that you know play in 29, it's not going to be an issue. I think, yeah, you probably don't need to use a free hit. I think there's going to be 2 key game weeks where we use free hits. The blank in 29 and now obviously the blank in 34. I think the blank in 34 is probably going to be the strongest time to use it because then you can stack up on doublers either side of that blank, or the blanks of 33 and 36, and not worry about those with the single games. But if you're looking at 29 going, I'm going to struggle to field 7 or 8, and I think there's an upside because Man City play Brighton, and I'm going to go De Bruyne and Haaland, and I'm going to go Chelsea play Arsenal, and I've got Chelsea players and Arsenal players. So again, I don't want those guys clashing, but I fancy Man United to do a job on Leicester, and I'm going to pick, whoever from Man United by then could be good. Who knows? Then maybe 29 gives you the upside, but it depends how much confidence we have in the Manchester clubs, because the 2 teams we're not invested in that have good fixtures are Man United at Leicester and Man City hosting Brighton. And if by then City and Haaland and co are looking good, then I think the rewards could be there for a free hit 29. But we need to see something from Man City. They're the key.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And I think you're right. I could be stung this game week, even if I do have a full 11 due to those fixtures, how they've fallen. But then again, if I don't free hit, maybe I'll make up some points in a big game week, whether it's another blank or another double in the future. Yeah. So the points will be made up. I just need to remember that. But yeah, I think it is decently set up. If I just go back, to game week 26, I know we're very, very much in the future, but it's good to see how I might plan going forward. So I think I like the Postecoglou in place. A lot of people will say no, and I understand that. Again, it is a bit of excitement, and it's absolutely what I die for when I play for FPL. I don't think it's a bad move though altogether. It's fun. Spurs could do well, and I mean, my rank isn't too bad, Gianni. 290k. You'd hope after this Everton-Liverpool game this game week that we pick up a few more points, hopefully get over the 100 mark with David Moyes in place, and that should see me, I want to say, in the top 250k. I still have my triple captain in place, and you'd like to think that would bring me into the top 180, 170?
Yeah, man, like you're looking really good because you've got you've probably got a chip on everyone else because there's a lot that have used triple captain, but if you haven't, there's a chance you've gone early on a wild card or you've hit the bench boost on a random week or whatever. So you've probably got a chip over a lot of managers around your rank. But more importantly, your team's in a really good shape because you've got the doublers from Villa, you've got Kluivert. So I feel not only is your rank good and your chips in good places, you're 2 or 3 transfers ahead. So again, like each transfer is 4 points effectively, whether you're hitting or not, because at some point you'll hit. So view each transfer as 4 points. Like, and say that you're 2 transfers ahead, that's 8 points already. Put 8 points on your current rank, and that's another 50k, isn't it? So yeah, well played, man. You're having a good season.
Yeah, exactly my point. And I think, of course, as usual, the goal will be top 10k. Whether or not that is achievable with 14 weeks left, I'm unsure.
It's possible.
It is definitely possible, though. I just need a bit of luck and the little type of moves.
The way you play, it's possible.
Oh,
There's
for sure.
a lot of managers at your rank. Just knowing how they manage, I'll happily look them straight in the eyes and say, dude, if you manage the way I know you manage, you cannot get to a 10k rank because your decisions will be the same as the crowd every single time. But the Chai I know, he'll pick a tell out of nowhere and he'll bang. Or you'll have a different chip strategy to others, or you'll triple captain someone different. Like, because of the way I know you play the game, mate, as always, the ceiling is high.
For sure, we're always chasing the upside here, and hopefully that doesn't bring me outside the top 1 million come game week 38.
Yeah, it also can go the other way, right? As I can tell you, like, I've played very differently this season, and I'm at 1.3 million, and I've been punished for playing too loose. But playing loose is can come with rewards, but also it's just how you and I get enjoyment from the game. And I think we have to always remember this game has to be played how you get enjoyment from it. Some people get enjoyment purely based on rank, and often that 90% of our joy, of course, comes from rank too. But there's that 10% that Chai and I will go for, where a player getting points that no one else has even thought of. That's when we have our biggest sort of happy moments in FPL. And that's why you and I are always on the hunt for a differential.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the funnest way to play the game, lads. And if you're not enjoying playing FPL, I mean, why are you playing? So not everything can be about the rank. A lot of people will always crap on maybe us content creators because of it. But lads, I'm telling you, regardless of how well I'm doing, I'm enjoying every single game week. And if you're not enjoying it, I mean, it is what it is. Like, rank can't be everything. So again, just to summarize, we still have about maybe 7 minutes until we close up, but team is in a very, very good spot. I am going to bring in Unai Emery, and I think, you know, I'm very happy so far with how the season has went with a lot of my picks. I think from my own perspective, I liked how I've played out this season. I just think a lot of players that I haven't owned have done very well, because some of the picks that I'm choosing are doing quite well, just not as well. For example, Alexander Isak, of course, he's absolutely obliterated me this season. But I stuck to my guns and I said I'm not going to go with Isak regardless of how well he's going to do. Again, Watkins hasn't done up to what Isak has done, but I think right now it will work out for me, maybe in the long term. And again, another one of those players are the likes of Ola Aina, Sells, or any of the Forest guys like Chris Wood. I've not owned any of them all season, and they've done nothing except hurt me every single game week. So I don't mind how it went, to be honest, and I think there's still so many points to be made up going forward.
Yeah, you're right. Like, it's never over till the fat lady sings, as they say. And like, I know we're in the second half of the season, but it still feels like we've almost got half a season left, because we've got the doubles and the blanks and the chips. They feel like extra big game weeks. So, you know, there are game weeks where the average points will be 90, not 50. So with that in mind, like, I just think there's still so much to play for. Mustafa's asked a question about Munoz or Kirkez. And you've got Munoz, I've got Munoz. We probably both think Kirkez is good, but we probably both, if picking one, slightly prefer Munoz just for the goal threat. Although Kirkez has got goal threat and assist threat, but Munoz is even more attacking.
Yeah, I think the Palace boys are exciting to own for sure. We've seen how good Mateta has been in recent weeks. Danny Munoz finally doing and living up to the expectation we expected. It was a big decision for me last game week to start Munoz over Gabriel. Of course, worked out in my favour. I was very confident about it because I just expected City to score. And I'd rather roll the dice with the likes of Daniel Munoz, who we know is getting really good numbers every single game week. Again, it could have not worked out that way. Gabriel could have scored a header like he does every single week, it seems. But it didn't happen this game week, and thankfully it worked out in my favour. I think in general, Eze out of the team now again. How do you feel about the Palace assets? Should you still be looking at Jean-Philippe Mateta with the blank game week 29 coming up, Johnny?
Yeah, this is another example of like why free hit 29 is a move I quite like. If 29 free hit means you keep Newcastle, Liverpool, and Palace players, well, they're all good. They're all playing well, right? The players from those teams are playing well. You can offload Villa after this double. Villa don't have a great run, and I don't think they're an exceptional team to be invested in. But Palace have got the fixtures, and they're cheap. Munoz and Mateta are amazing. Liverpool are Liverpool. And I think Newcastle, I think way too many are put off by the fact it's City, Forest, Liverpool. They've just beaten Arsenal 2-0. This team can score against anyone. They're flying at the minute. So, yeah, another reason why I think 29 free hit is fine. And that's because of Palace. Like, I'm not selling Munoz, mate. Like, and if you've got Mateta, you're not looking to sell. Eze, a different story because of his fitness. And Sarr, different story because of his form. But yeah, Palace are great.
For sure, for sure. And Gianni, the fixtures do turn again. Just going back to City.
Yeah, I know. From 30, a lot that wildcard in 30 will be tempted on Haaland.
You know the type of managers we are.
I know.
I think we have a love for Phil Foden, who's done you dirty this season, but somewhere in our hearts, deep down, we know that it can switch just like that for a player of his quality. Is there any chance we'd be looking at getting rid of maybe a Cole Palmer, for example, to try accommodate Phil Foden again, or Erling Haaland?
I mean, Chelsea losing in the FA Cup pretty much means they're not going to get a double game week now, because they will be playing in that blank of 34. So there'll be weeks where we look ahead and go, do I really need to wildcard with Palmer in my team? Because Chelsea are losing games and Palmer looks a little bit off it and he doesn't have a double. And players like Phil Foden will go, well, they're cheap. They've got good fixtures and they've got a double. You know, around game week 30, when many wildcard, the entry point is Leicester at home for Man City. Now, when Man City are bad, they're still, like, of course, you can't invest heavily in them for FPL, but there are gems still in attack you can punt on. And I include De Bruyne when fit, Foden, and obviously Haaland, but he's so expensive. Sure, they're conceding goals. Sure, they're losing games. But the goal threat hasn't really gone. Players like Phil Foden still offer you goal threat. And game week 30, I think a lot will be there, because it will be Leicester, then Man United. And again, Foden loves the Manchester derby. Palace at home. And then it's Everton, Villa, Wolves, Southampton, Bournemouth, Fulham to end the season. Like they end the last sort of 6-7 games for Man City, which will include probably a double game week, look really good.
Yeah, I completely agree. So maybe it's a conversation we'll be having in a few more Sundays.
We will.
Gianni.
We
for
will.
sure. You know where to go every single Sunday for your streams. And thank you everyone for joining us as usual. We're going to wrap it up here, guys. Before you go, do us a favor. If you do enjoy these streams, hit that like button for Gianni and I. We really appreciate you here on Scout, and I hope you do enjoy these videos every single Sunday. Best of luck for the rest of Game Week 24. Make sure you set up your team and do use FPL Team. Shout out to them for providing us with such a good website. And I think Peter does a lot of work behind the scenes looking at some of the fixtures. So do support FPL Team and follow him on Twitter. So thank you everyone, as usual, for joining us for another Sunday stream. And as usual, Gianni and I will see you next week. Anything left to say, Gianni?
No, all good. Yeah, Pete's a great guy with FPL TV. You're right. I think Scout on the app has got a similar sort of planner as well. Like, I was on the Scout app this morning going, I haven't spent enough time on this app. If you haven't already checked out the Scout app, I was doing a comparison of Watkins versus Isak. And straight away, like I'll just show my phone quickly to the camera. If you're listening on podcast, it won't work. But you know, like those spider grams that you sort of get, it's going to be blurry, but you can see on the outside is red, and that's the better guy. And then inside is blue, and it's Watkins versus Isak. Every metric, and I did a season comparison. I'm a visual learner. I don't like the numbers as much. Every metric, Isak wins out. Again, just going back to the should you sell Isak for Watkins? This data doesn't like it. Sammy says Scout app's great. So yeah, if you're just joining, go back and watch the last hour. But yeah, mate, loads of fun. Thank you for chatting, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you everyone, and as usual, we will see you in the next.